received a message
From the universe?
from a messenger.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Our greatest masters are disappearing. I fear this is the work of Lord Shen, who has unleashed a new kind of threat on our world. This could mean the end of Kung Fu.
But I just got Kung Fu!
And now, you must save it.
You know, they talk about how pandas are endangered, and I never knew that they were almost killed off by a gay peacock.
Yeah,
I'm glad
that's
this movie
pretty much what did it.
Yeah, I'm glad this movie cleared that up for me, man.
And their refusal to have sex with each other and repopulate the species. I don't know what that's all about.
Thank God they didn't. Yeah, thank God they didn't waste their time putting this on the History Channel and just making it into an all-out kids movie for me. That's the only way I can understand some things. Make it into a kids movie, all right? So I can understand what the fuck you're talking about.
Leave it to Jack Black to explain the real story.
You're right. One that he doesn't fuck up.
Yeah, no, pandas really they don't want to have sex with each other.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't want to fuck a panda.
No,
It's almost
I
like-
wouldn't either.
Yeah,
but
but-
the thing is, our technology today.
Hey, I've
where
seen you fuck up some
civilization
Panda
is-
Express, all right?
You've got lots of furries out there. You could just give them a turkey baster and say go with full panda sperm and say go fuck
You
that female
could.
panda.
It's almost the guy panda's looking at the girl panda talking about, I'm only into white women. I would, but I can't do nothing for you. Nah, man, you know what?
This is the return of Po.
This is the return of Po, the Dragon Master.
The Dragon Warrior. The Dragon Master was the one who eats filet of fish and goes to Comic Con.
That black wizard, the Black Wolf, the Dragon Master.
And don't get him confused with the Last Dragon.
That's not Ty Mac.
Bruce Leroy.
Unlike
He's
the
not
rest-
as cool as that guy.
Unlike the rest of the animals in here, who are all actually based off to style. Like there's a crane who does crane style and a snake who does snake style. There's no panda style.
No.
So he's got to be the Dragon Warrior.
Yeah.
That's the only slot they had left open.
I know.
I guess you can be the Dragon Warrior.
And he just couldn't invent panda style. They had to make him something big and badass. But
Well, clearly panda style is that you just like bump your head on a lot of things and sit on people.
Yeah, it's Three Stooges style. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Which
Early
I thought
style.
I thought Jackie Chan already invented that style. I mean, his style should be called the Panda style.
Cyrus invented that style called sit fu. Just sit on you, can't do nothing. You know how ninjas jump down and be scrambling? He just jumps down and just lands on
Just
you.
roll out of the way.
You can't go nowhere.
Oh, you mean I'm fat? Oh, I get it.
I did not say that.
We didn't say
You
that.
didn't say that.
No.
We said you're lazy.
Woo!
All right, goddammit. All right.
Damn, Corey.
See, I ain't say he was fat, but he's definitely jolly.
No,
Who
man.
knows how I'm not leaving? Yeah, I'm just not saying anything right now.
I know.
I'm leaving this poor guy alone right now.
Just let him enjoy himself right
Oh,
now.
your time is coming.
I know his kung fu is too tight, man. Just let him do his
He
thing.
just has to sit there and I'll laugh.
Yeah. Man, you leave Poe alone, man. Poe is kind of a badass. You make him sound like he's like,
I'm sorry. At the end of the first Kung Fu Panda, he ends up like, hey, wow, he achieved that badassedness that was always in him. Start off this one, it's like, okay, he might be a member of the Furious Five, but he's the fuck up of the
I
group.
disagree.
If they were the Three Stooges, he would be Curly.
I
I don't know
disagree.
if I go so far as to say he would be Curly, but I mean, let's face it,
Shemp?
the Furious Five have been doing what they've been doing for a long time before he came along. He's the new guy, and he's also the least experienced, and I felt that's as far as they treat him here. Is he as good as they are? No, he's not, but he's also sometimes more effective than they are by sheer force of will and bulk.
Yeah, exactly.
He is the heart of the Furious Five.
No,
That's what he is.
I don't know what any of y'all talking about. Y'all didn't see the same panda I saw.
Oh, okay.
I saw a
Tell
totally
me.
different panda.
Tell me about that panda.
All
all
he
this-
sees is the prophesied.
Yeah. And all I saw was half of that panda in the first movie because I didn't get through watching
I wish
Kung
you
Fu
had.
Panda.
Yeah, don't tell us about the panda that you dreamt of while you were sleeping. Because you couldn't get through the first
I kind
movie.
of filled in the blanks myself after that.
I only saw enough to see a white bear.
Yeah.
I didn't see the black part.
I didn't see the black part. I had to get out of there before that came along. But so in the first movie, and if I'm correct, like I said, I only saw half of it. But we have Poe.
Tell me all about it, Corey.
Yeah, so let me tell y'all about the movie that I never saw. Let me school y'all on
What
this.
happened in that story?
Well, from what I saw, we have Poe, who is, he's a big old clumsy panda bear. I mean, he's so low, he's just serving as a cook at his father's restaurant. He doesn't even get a chance to cook. He just sweeps the floor.
Yeah.
And eats everything. And his father is a goose, right?
Right.
And so you wonder, how the hell did this work out? Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But he dreams of being a great kung fu master, and he starts to train with the Furious Five, and they're just like, man, we can't deal with this guy. This guy's just fucking up our program everywhere. We can't go and defeat the enemies when he's just bumping into everything, knocking over stuff, and the enemies are getting away. Not only just running away, but laughing at us too.
Yeah.
That big old fat ass y'all got fighting for y'all. I need to get rid of him. But after he trains, he becomes the Dragon Warrior. So famous that he becomes the most popular out of the Furious Five. Like, kids are coming to have their birthday parties just centered around him. They want to see the Dragon Warrior.
And Bruce Lee's going, hey, any you guys remember me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The help of the magical whatever the fuck he is that Dustin Hoffman plays.
Yeah, by Master Sifu.
Sifu, that little rat, yeah.
Who reluctantly has to train Poe.
Poe, the day you were chosen as Dragon Warrior was the worst day of my life. By far. Nothing else came close. It was the worst, most painful, mind-destroying, horrible moment I have ever experienced. But once I realized the problem was not you, but within me, I found inner peace and was able to harness the flow of the universe.
So that's it? I just need inner peace? My innards are already super, super peaceful. So all I need to do is just get this thing going. Inner peace? You're going down.
Chinese mammal that we don't even have yet.
He's rodentia. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so, well, look, he's come into his own by the end of at least I heard. Yeah. By the end of the first movie.
At least I read on
does.
Wikipedia.
He manifests
IMDb.
He manifests the power that was always within.
For future reference, Coz, next time this happens, we got to get on Wikipedia and edit those
I know.
entries.
We need to fuck all that shit up.
So,
Yeah.
the Panda Bear goes for a bachelor party to Vegas.
Becomes a transvestite. Yeah, fights Kung Fu
Really?
with
Is
a
this
dress.
what really happened in the last movie? Yeah,
Well,
Corey, it was
we
good.
open up with Kung Fu Panda 2. He's still a big star. He's still hanging out with the Furious Five, and as we said, they're all animals that do martial arts according to the animal that they are. We got Angelina Jolie as the tigress. We got Seth Rogen as the mantis. He's a praying mantis. We have Jackie Chan as monkey. That goes right there. What he is. He's a monkey style.
Are you being racist right now?
No, we just love
When I look at Leon when I said that,
Yeah,
you know what that is.
I am wondering why you looked at me. I'm like, okay.
You know monkey style, right?
I assume you looked at me since I'm one of the few people who saw the first movie all the way through.
He just loves monkeys. That's all. He's looking at Leon to back him up.
at you,
It's like,
Right?
right?
You're
Monkeys
sweating
are
like,
awesome.
right, Leon? Jackie Chan's a monkey. Yeah, Corey, keep going.
Black people like monkeys, man. Come on, now. I need you backing up now.
Monkeys have thin lips.
Back up my racism.
And we got the crane, played by David Cross, does his crane style. And then finally we have the viper, Lucy Liu. She's a snake, does that snake thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Poe is still a badass. People still coming from all around to see Poe. And Poe just wants to hang out and do what's right. Well, it turns out that there's this, as we said, this evil gay peacock.
Why you always got to say the gay thing?
Last time we did this, you pointed this out like he is a little effeminate.
Okay, yes, he is effeminate. He may even be gay, but it's not like he's sucking cocks all through the movie. You don't have to say gay peacock every time.
We don't know that.
Look, the guy's walking out in a goddamn Liberace costume, all right? All he was missing is that goddamn piano with the candles on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, granted, there's a point where he goes like, I wish my brother George. But that doesn't necessarily make
What's
him
funny, like, by the animal nature of peacocks, they are like the most masculine animal. The way they're just like, hey, baby, check this shit out.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Look at here.
Looks kind of gay from our point of view, but from peacock terms, that shit is Chuck Norris.
Hey, yeah, in Animal World, the peacock is a pimp.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You know what? Then I'll just meet you halfway and say metrosexual. Then
There you
Oh
go.
no, he's gay. You just don't have to say it every time.
It's not an important character attribute. Is all Leon
okay,
says.
let's just say an animal whose sexuality is his own business comes into play, and he's told of a prophecy.
What do you mean he can't marry Monkey? Don't press him like that.
He can marry monkey. He just can't marry another peacock of his own sexuality. No, he comes into a prophecy that says a warrior of black and white will come in and defeat your household one day. And he's like, well, you know what? I'm just going to be proactive, and I interpret this as pandas, black, white.
Because God knows I'm not going to take on killer whales.
That would be silly.
Yeah,
I got kicked by a zebra one time. I ain't messing.
yeah, I ain't fucking with them, and plus the pandas are just right down the street. Let's kill them. He orders everybody to go in and wipe out this village, and he comes back home and his parents, he says, hey, y'all, look what I did. Ain't you proud? They're like, what the fuck did you do? Are you crazy? They're like, no, man, that's just too wild. You got to go.
It was like
the bathroom.
It was like the opening scene of Halloween. Parents are just like, Michael?
We're talking about the black and white tile on the floor. You'd have to kill a whole species. And
I was kind of like, wait, is this the sequel to True Legend? Didn't I just watch this movie last week?
With animals now.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, man, you too wild for us. We love you, but you got to go. You are banished. You don't belong to us anymore. And he just turned around and was like, well, you know what? I'll be back.
And I'll burn all this
I'm
shit.
going to burn all this shit to the ground. Come on, Pookie. We're going to come back and burn this motherfucker to the ground. And so, that's when we have Poe here just minding his own business. Finally, that peacock, Lord, what's his name?
Shen.
Lord Shen, voiced by Gary Oldman, he comes through on his promise. When he sees the right time, he comes back in, and he needs metal to create like a big, this vast weaponry that he wants to like give to his army. And to get that, he has to go and attack this village that Poe and the Furious Five had to protect. And throughout this, we see that Poe has to come back into action, be the hero that he is championed to be, and also he learns a little bit about himself that the goose is not his father. He can't believe this. It's like, what?
It's funny because in the first one, I was surprised they got through the whole movie without mentioning the fact that, like, clearly the goose is not his biological father, and he was adopted.
That's just how it is in cartoon land.
I know.
It's
I was like,
crazy.
is that how they're going to go with it? Surely there's more to this.
Yeah.
And with Kung Fu Panda 2, they do give you the full story of Poe, the true origin, the true Hollywood story of Poe.
You were wondering, like, was his mom a panda? And they're like, maybe there's a bill hiding somewhere. He had plastic surgery.
They should do that. They should do that with like more traditional movies. Like, you find out that Zach Galifianakis, his dad was like James Earl Jones or something. They give you no explanation. That's just how it is.
Maybe it should have been Kung Fu Platypus, and his mom could have been a beaver.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Then would have made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here we have, before Poe had to become a great warrior and make peace with himself, now he has to sort of make peace with his past and realize where he came from, and it kind of messes him up a little bit. So can he be up to the warrior that everybody thinks he is? Now, I don't know what y'all talking about that Poe wasn't a badass, because at the beginning of the movie, maybe I just didn't see him be the badass in the movie that y'all saw, but that for a big bear, he was jumping, flipping, kicking ass. I mean, he was doing most of the work.
Well, hell, you can say that about Jack Black himself.
Yeah.
I mean, for a big guy, he's very athletic, and he bounces around and does all kind of crazy
Not
shit.
martial arts, though.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him do it yet.
Yeah,
That's right. Well, then I can't judge
you at the box office keeps beating his ass down because he hasn't made a decent movie.
I think he's going to strike back with this movie.
But you say his kung fu ain't that good.
It ain't that great. No.
This is turnaround fast style.
I always think about this Poe character as like Sammo Hung, as far as he's always been described as like a 500-pound gorilla who can move around like a monkey, But the thing is, it works here because his moves, especially with the camera work and everything, when they get into these action sequences, they really work. Which I was really impressed by this movie, just by the choreography of the fight scenes, along with really utilizing the 3D with this movie, which I haven't seen 3D use this well in a long time. Honestly, some of the movies that I've said, wow, they did a really good job with the 3D, it makes me look at those movies and go, no, they didn't.
Yeah, say what you will about DreamWorks versus Pixar. The one thing DreamWorks is betting on is like, we're going to corner this 3D animation thing, and we're going to do it where people are like, yeah, I'll pay extra for 3D because it's a DreamWorks movie and they know how to do it. And sure enough, the president of the company has even said, this is what we're heading towards. And I'll be damned if they're not exactly there. They're not the best films to see in 3D. Between this and How to Train Your Dragon, you're like, wow, I'm ducking and weaving and dodging all over the theater.
Well, what they do with these movies are, so we have the movies that are just converted to 3D. And then we have movies that, all right, we'll do a couple of scenes just because this 3D trend, we got to ride that wave. But this movie shows that these people, this was planned from the storyboarding stages to take advantage of the 3D.
Absolutely.
And the 3D in this film is amazing. We are moving with the characters as they do their kung fu. We have many aerial shots that just dive and jump into this abyss, and we just keep falling, and you could almost feel your heart and your stomach as you're falling with the camera. And they incorporate a lot of comedy with the 3D too. And I was amazed. I was like, I feel like I need a movie like this every year to remind me that, okay, 3D is really working towards something.
Yeah, sure.
Well, it's working, period.
Well, as always, 3D works better with animated films than they do with live action.
Yeah.
Although sometimes they just don't try, like the Pixar ones, where they're like, it's 3D if you care, but we don't.
Yeah, they're like, we got to make this 3D.
I mean, it's a good movie either way.
Right.
But, the 3D, you forget Pixar movies are even in 3D.
Right.
This you can't forget, and it's not distracting. It pulls you into the film. Yeah. And it wouldn't work so well if it wasn't for, as co-host said earlier, how great the choreography is for these fights. I mean, these are clearly people who planned these out, these animators who are huge fans of the classic martial arts films, who've watched a lot of these and have said, how can we integrate a lot of these elements, a lot of this type of, fight storytelling almost.
That's what I love. Yeah,
and do it with how animals would do it.
Yeah, that's what I love about this story, because I haven't seen the first one at all. So I walked in here just not knowing anything about these characters, any of their past or anything. But watching it, I mean, I did feel like, wow, I don't need to see the first one, because first of all, it's an origin story for Po. And I'm like, okay, I'll get to know the character a lot more than I would watching the first movie. But, the thing is that it works so well, even the camaraderie with these characters when they're together, I do feel that sense of like a strong friendship between them all. And like with the story in general, it sucked me in only because I was like, wow, this does remind me of like something I see in a Shaw Brothers movie.
Absolutely.
It's really that cool, and it made me feel like a real idiot for not seeing the first one, because that's what people constantly told me about this series, is that, when I told them I haven't seen that movie yet, they're like, you haven't seen Kung Fu Panda? You, out of all people, would fucking love this, only because it's like watching those old school, Kung Fu films.
They're right.
It shocked me almost to the point of feeling hurt when you told me that you hadn't seen the first one.
Those people who were telling him that was Leon.
Yeah.
They're like, goddamn, dude, watch this movie already.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid of hanging out in the kids section of the video store.
That was me communicating with you telepathically when I was watching half of the first one. Like, why hasn't Cole seen this?
Is that why you just bought your My Little Pony collection on Amazon instead of buying it, renting it from the video store?
There's something you said, like, I agree with everything you said. All about it. It's totally reminded me of watching Kung Fu Theater on Saturday mornings after all the cartoons would go off. And what you said about you watched this one and you felt like you didn't need to see the first one. That's absolutely almost true. And to me, it's almost a negative in as much as, wow, it's so much more the same that I wish it had been more of something a little different. Really? I mean, you watch the first one, it's not like a note for note, but it's all the same elements. I mean, I'm just like, okay, here's a continuation. It's like, hey, did you like watching that? Well, here you get to watch it again with some slight changes. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same thing. All the same highs. Although I would have to say I felt like the first one was written a little bit better. The jokes were funnier, and it was a fresher idea at the time.
I agree with you exactly on that. I think if there's anything bad to say about this, it's only by virtue of comparison with the first one. It's that whole, wow, what a surprise that movie was as amazingly good as it was. That we were just sitting there really kind of enjoying it with joy, going, wow, who knew this was going to be this good? With this one, I was like, okay, you got a lot to do to top it. And I don't know if it necessarily topped it outside of the 3D per se.
Yeah, the 3D was probably the only thing that's better.
But I thought largely it equaled it. It's maybe not as funny as far as the dialogue goes, but man, your eyes are darting all over the screen. You're constantly entertained. It's visually stunning. I mean, just stunning at points that, a few less jokes isn't going to make me bitch too much.
Well, true. I wonder, like I felt like there was this underlying message going on here that I've seen in a lot of films, like also like in the Avatar, the last Airbender series, where I just wonder, is this whole thing of this subtext of the industrial age or technology coming in and wiping out the old ways? Because the big plot point here is like Kung Fu is dying because now we got gunpowder. And guns beat hands and fists, hands down.
It's odd for an anti-technology message to be in a 3D film.
I know, but it's, I don't think it is anti-technology. Yeah. I mean, they might make technology the bad guy, whether it's the Fire Nation they have cannons and weapons now, or here it's Shin who has cannons. But it's just like saying, like, hey man, the old ways were cool, but that's not going to be here for much longer.
Even though I don't think that was like a main plot point, I think it was just kind of sprinkled in.
Yeah, it's not a main plot point.
Yeah,
it's
it
just
still is a story about Po.
Yeah.
Clearly, Poe needs to watch Equilibrium.
But hey, you're right. Technology will overcome Kung Fu at any time, because that's what they say. They say we have to go out and save Kung Fu. And there was a rhino in this movie who thought like, Oh yeah, ain't nothing defeat Kung Fu. What's that big old tube?
It's almost like Yosemite Sam looking down one of Bugs Bunny's kick cannons.
There was a real famous martial artist school up in on the East Coast when I was growing up that constantly had commercials on television. I mean, I'm not going to sing it, but I can even remember the jingle now. It played so often. And that school stopped when that guy got mugged and hospitalized by two guys with a gun. It was like, wow, no one wants to come to my school anymore. I wonder why.
A gun in your face will make you think about a whole lot of shit.
Yeah. Hey, ain't nothing against bullet style. But you say that the story, it wasn't as good as the first one, and maybe that's the benefit of me not seeing all of the first one, because I was really touched by this story. I mean, it's a goofy film. I mean, it never takes itself too seriously. Even when the movie starts to hit at like a very high emotional point, they manage to bring in a gag without seeming like it's unnatural. I mean, it's just the nature of this film to keep you laughing. They don't want to be too heavy, but there's a couple of scenes in here. One is, like you said, this whole father and son relationship between Po and his dad who's his dad?
James Hong.
James Hong, Mr. Ping. Yeah, that poor son of a bitch. That goose just loves his son so much. I mean,
he loves his son almost as much as he loves cooking noodles and making money.
Yeah. That little bitch. He's like a mother and father. When Poe's about to leave, he's still embarrassing Poe. He's like, here's your teddy bear. Here's your action figures. Here's some pictures of us together. Please come back. Don't die. And he's just crying. And he's like, get your ass away from a warrior.
And those two on screen is like, yeah, you're right. That is the most touching part of the film. And honestly, I was like, wow, I could see a TV series based on these two characters.
It was very touching. Yeah,
it was, and they do such a good job of having those characters emote with their facial expressions to where I'm like, wow, some real life actors need to take some notes.
A lot of it comes from the backstory of this, because there's another part where Poe is having a flashback about him as a baby and what happened to him, and that part, to me, I mean, that's probably the most serious part of the movie, and it worked. And it worked because of two reasons. Mainly because I think it was just told visually very well, because there's hardly any words with that. It's all kind of just visual. And speaking of visual, this movie...
Segue.
Well, no, I mean, they go together. Like a lot of the story, when it's told in flashback, a lot of it is visual, but there is this other part of the movie where they tell the story through the CG animation that we see, and then Coach, you were talking about this heavy the last time you were mentioning this, like
the 2D in it.
The
2D in it was really like blew me away. Just how vivid and how beautiful it was, just by telling that story, that background story, without having so much of any dialogue going on, just visually seeing it, and the way they did it with the 3D. Really made me go, okay, wow, I want to see a traditionally made 2D animated film done in 3D, because they made that look so wonderful. The last time I saw something like that was with the last Harry Potter movie, with that little animated segment where I was like, okay, wow, with
the Deathly Hallows part,
that's my favorite part of that film. But with this, the way they used it, it really made me want to scream. Will somebody fucking do a movie like this now, like today, please?
Well, that wouldn't be too much out of the question. The director here, we were talking about this before, Jennifer Yah, she did this before she did this. She did Spawn, the TV series on HBO. And you know what?
This is like 60.
That's what I thought. I looked at a picture of her and I was like, "Who's this old woman director?" I was like, "She's hot."
Damn.
I was like, "A hot." Well, she's female Asian animator.
That means she's crazy.
A
female animator. Come on.
Well, hey, let me take her out tonight. Now I'll give her some of my Kung Pao chicken, and later for dessert, some come on, say young guy.
Oh, you just childish, man.
Asian girls are super hot until menopause. And then they go.
They do.
And then you wake up
slam into the wall.
That's more cushion for the pushing. There's nothing wrong with that.
You know what? That's true. You get a hot Asian chick, one morning she's gonna wake up with a lot of wrinkles and she's gonna shrink about 3 feet. She turns into Yoda, just out of nowhere, just one morning. But you know, this woman.
That's going a little. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, that's
you don't have to. I saw it in your eyes.
Damn, boy.
That'll just make me look
that
much
make me
bigger.
the bad guy. Y'all stop it.
I didn't know you
wanna
hated
know
Asian
you.
women that much.
What'd you say?
I didn't know you hated Asian women that much.
I don't. Not the young ones. Don't hate the old ones. Don't want to wake up with them. That's all.
General, man.
You crazy round eye.
They make the best soup.
And they do. And you know what? If you give them a lightsaber, I'm sure they're badass.
They don't smell. They don't swell. They're grateful as hell.
But no, this girl here, man. I don't know how much influence she had on the visual style that this movie took, the several visual styles that it took, but there's a lot of variety here, and it's amazing, and that's another thing that drew me in. And you guys were saying that they did this a lot.
Yeah,
in the first one.
in the first one they do it for the opening sequence, I believe, but when you buy it on DVD or especially in Blu-ray, there's also a bonus disc with the Legend of the Furious 5, and it's all the origins of the characters of the Furious 5, and each origin is told in that 2D animated style. It's beautiful. I'm telling you, co-host, you got to go pick these up.
I'll do it today.
Do yourself a favor. You know what? You'll feel good about yourself. You'll feel good about the DVDs you bought.
All right, I'm stealing that shit. All right, I'll do it.
Besides, the manager of the kids section already knows you on a first name basis.
Hey! I'm trying to look for He-Man over here.
You guys said that's what eBay's for, man. You're gonna like a charmless. You better stay away from these places.
I'm not looking at that kitty fair. I want the one with the half-naked, overly steroid muscle guy.
You know what, man?
He's a hero.
For next April 1st, we should follow him to Toys R Us and just call the police on him.
What the hell?
What I do?
I'm not spending a night again in the drunk tank with that fucking Ted.
Man, before we wrap up here, I just want to say this movie, other than the action, I mean, everything I thought was great about it. There are some things that I thought they could have done better. The rest of the characters, like, we have all these famous voices that do them, and some of them, like, well, I don't know what they could have done with Angelina Jolie, but I just felt like her character, a lot of the Furious 5 just seemed like more side characters where I want to see them be more major characters.
It's odd because they don't speak much, so it's odd they would get A-list actors, and they get nothing but A-list actors for this. But at the time when they made the first Kung Fu Panda, I know this was a trend with DreamWorks. It's almost like DreamWorks' slogan was like, look, we might not have the best stuff, but we got connections. We get the best stars.
Well, the name brings them in. That's why they do it.
Yeah, they do it with every one of their animated movies. It's almost like Spielberg's like, look, I got everybody on speed dial. They all owe me, and even if I just need them to detail my car, Seth Rogen's going to show up.
People in every last role has a big name in it.
Yeah.
And you're right, Corey, when you say, like, they're great characters, they're interesting, but you want more of them. I mean, it feels like, why isn't this more of a team on a mission type movie where you get to, like, see more of them doing stuff separately? I mean, I hope maybe they adopt that for the third one and maybe bring in Hong Kong Phooey or something.
Hey,
Hong Kong Phooey, there you go.
I can only hope, like, after watching this one, I can only hope that they'd want to adapt all those goddamn Shaw Brothers films, because God knows there's like 100 of those films out there. Some of them starring some of the same 5 actors, like the 5 Deadly Venoms. I mean, I would love to see this series, like, keep going and going using those stories, because you know what, I'll be there every time to see them. I mean, because I'm curious how much money they're spending on these actors, because that's the other thing. Like, when I saw the credits, I was like, what, really?
The thing is, with almost every animated film or show, the actors get paid scale, no matter how big they are.
That's true.
Oh, no shit.
You know what they need to do? The panda needs to lose an arm and get blinded for the next one.
Yeah.
There you go.
And have a little panda cub that he's walking around.
Yeah,
in
there
the
you
cart.
go. That'll work too.
Hey,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
better than nothing. They detail Spielberg's car for free.
That's right.
They tell Seth Rogen, wear the hot pants again.
That'd be badass. Fucking make a story of Ricky with Kung Fu Panda. That would be fucking the ultimate crazy.
Yeah, with Mauls people, the story of Po-Oh. Yeah, that's great, man. I would love to see that.
Yes. Don't steal my idea.
But that movie, man, this movie made me laugh so much. A lot of it, again, was just from visual gags. They have one where they do a top-down view of a village, and they do a joke based on Pac-Man. That's not, and the thing is, they're not like making it too self-referential. It's enough to like be funny.
Did. I think it stopped the movie to go like, hey, check out this Pac-Man reference.
See, I thought like it was funny enough to where visually kids could see it and laugh, and for those who recognize it as Pac-Man, it's like,
everybody's not a video game nerd like you.
But
that's why it would work.
Yeah, I agree with Corey. I watched it going, and it took me a second before I went, oh, they're doing a Pac-Man thing. Yeah. But I think that a lot of people who, if you didn't know Pac-Man, if you didn't recognize it, you'd just think that was a cool looking.
No, little kids aren't.
Fuck you.
Yeah, little kids aren't going to have no idea about that. But it did. The thing is, I was laughing throughout that whole scene. So when I saw it, it didn't click on the later. I was like, oh, there's Pac-Man. What do you know?
It's like, wait a minute, this is China, not Japan. What the fuck?
Yeah. I'll just give my rating right here. Like I mentioned, one of the few flaws that were in here. I like a lot of things about this film. I like that we talk about voices that famous actresses and actors that we can't really recognize them, but they brought in some voices, and those guys played it subtle, and I thought that was cool. Like they have a defender of the Peacock Mansion, and those two defenders are played by one is played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, the crocodile, and the other we have Dennis Haysbert as an ox that tries to sell you Allstate insurance. So it was like so it was cool. They had those Michelle Yeoh as the prophet goat.
Yeah.
Who there's a good gag with her where she she's such a deep a deep thinking prophet and so serious, but then she starts nibbling on people's clothes. And you
got Danny McBride as the leader of the Wolf Henchmen.
Wait a minute, Danny McBride?
Yeah.
That was Danny McBride.
Well, don't you know there's a law? Danny McBride has to appear in every comedy.
Pretty much.
Today, him and Seth Rogen, man, they got it made.
Well, it's like any movie that he's been in with somebody, he has to be in their next movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I really did enjoy this movie. I felt it in the heart. I felt it with my laughter. I give this movie a very high full price.
Damn.
I enjoyed it.
I love that goose thing so much. I think you got daddy issues.
I want that. I want that goose to be my daddy, man.
Why can't my dad love me like that animated character?
You know something? If I had a father like that goose, I wouldn't be stripping like I am today.
Your father was just cheap. He didn't actually love me.
Just yelled at me, boy, what you doing, boy?
Well, shit. Well, I have to agree. I'm going to give it a full price. Only because, this is a movie that I didn't need to watch the first one to thoroughly enjoy it. The animation, the 3D completely blew me the fuck away. And on top of that, I think we forgot to mention this movie has a great villain. The guy who plays Lord Shimp. What's his
Gary
name?
Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
Shimp.
Is that not
And
his
Poe is
name?
Curly. See how that comes back around?
That's not his name.
Well, hell, when has Gary Oldman not been a great villain?
Oh, well, you know what? Animated, dressing up like Liberace, he did a phenomenal job. I mean, it was just a really great film villain, only because it reminded me of the villains from the Shaw Brothers films and the Kung Fu films.
Hey, Leon, which one of Gary Oldman's movies does he play a great villain?
What? Everyone!
I think there's almost a scene like that.
And they did a scene like that in the movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that does seem to be a thing with like old classic actors. At some point, there's a law that they have to repeat one of their most famous lines in their old movies.
Oh well, but the thing is that
it's the Rocky and Bullwinkle law.
Yeah, exactly.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing the prequel,
and the Furious Five, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
I was waiting on you, man. And at the end of
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
And they allude to a sequel at the end of this.
No, and the thing is, I'm all for it. I am super excited, and wow, I never thought I'd be excited about anything Jack Black has done in a long time.
And I like the cliffhanger that they ended it on. It wasn't
it was great.
It wasn't overbearing.
No, it was great.
Of course, there's going to be a third one. DreamWorks will keep making sequels until there's no fast food left to do.
Yeah, I mean, they are doing a movie just on Puss in Boots from Shrek.
Yeah, that's how they're like, just a fuck it.
That's not a joke.
I know. No, I've seen the posters.
We are whores, and we're not afraid to admit it and show you for sure.
Hey, fuck, you got some money? Pay us.
Well, you know what? Unlike those movies, this one has plenty of source material that he can keep going back to if they want to.
Yeah, I would love to see more of this series as well. Did you give your rating?
Full price.
Okay, now, and I do. This is a full price, no question. It's not quite as high a full price as the last one, if only because, like I said, there's not that surprise there anymore. But they did such a great job with the 3D and integrating it into it, and that's such a rarity when we see a 3D film and we're actually, wow, that's the way to see it. That in and of itself was a surprise. I love this film. I had fun all the way through it, and I actually may even go see this again in the theater. I liked it so much.
I'm going to see it too.
Yeah, I think I will too.
Yeah, every positive thing you guys say about it, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, my only but is that I wish I'd enjoyed it more.
He just did a roundhouse on you.
It was just it's just sequelitis. I was just like, dang, I wish it was just not so much of the same thing. I wish it could have been more. And to me, it's like it's a full price movie that I enjoyed at a very high matinee level.
Yeah, go eat some thistles, Eeyore.
Hey, sorry, man. Hey, anybody who wants to see it, by God, go see it. See it in the theater so you get the full 3D effect.
You know what? You will never join the Furious 3 because we are furious at you in your opinion, man. Damn.
You'll be the lonely one by yourself.
You were the Poe of the group. He's like, this movie is so great, I just can't quite give it as high a rating as you guys. And and we have like, man, we're just like our fans. We're just like, what? Fuck you for hating this. I learned it by watching you, fans.
You do fucking snake
we thought it was
crane
great,
on your
even though
ass.
fucking Leon hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it. No, I
Get 'em.
That's not what I said at all.
Now, maybe you didn't have the seat that I had because we told a story about this before, but true story here, people.
I was right by you though.
Yeah, you were. You so you have no excuse. We had Kung Fu Panda being performed live right in front of us.
We had 4D.
Yeah, it crossed. Yeah,
Because there was a little retarded kid in front of us jumping around like fat kid, like the real Po, like real Kung Fu Panda.
It was. Yeah.
He
The
beat
thing
up
is,
his mom.
the thing is, that kid was right in front of me. So when I was like watching the film and I heard ba 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 ba, I was like, wow, this sound is fucking amazing. What a great compliment to the 3D action. And then I'm like, oh shit, that's a fucking kid in front of me beating up his aunt.
Yeah, it was
Larry the Cheese.
It was a little kid. He looked like a little panda. He had a round head and a round body. he didn't have a neck.
That motherfucker was chewing on
That's
bamboo.
true. He did
all right,
not have a neck.
He did not have a neck. He looked like a snowman with the third ball
He
missing.
really was. Yeah, when you see Little Po, it's amazing because at the end of the credits, you see like Little Po throughout the credits. And the thing is, I was looking at this kid going, this is the fucking kid that they sculpted that panda bear out.
It's funny because if you took that kid to a carnival to a face painter, that face painter would be like, oh, I know just what I'm going to do with you.
And you know the thing is, parents, you need to watch out because if you have one of these fucking kids that just gets hyper every time there's a fight scene, because every time there's a fight scene, this fucking kid was going to town on his aunt. He was performing the snake and crane.
Well, I knew
the praying mantis, every fucking move you can think of.
Oh, I
on
knew
his
he
forehand.
was, man, because that kid beforehand, Leon kind of gave me a little hard time about him because I said I looked at him because he started playing peekaboo with me, and I was like, well, let me go ahead and play this kid because he ain't about to get retard strength on me and beat the shit out of me, pull a Kung Fu Panda on me. So I started like playing with him, and he just wouldn't stop. So I was like, man, I said, man, you had a lot of candy today, didn't you? And he looked at me and just said, he was waiting to be fed some more.
Like a baby
You
bird
saw him too.
waiting
Oh,
for
yeah.
cheeseburgers.
Yeah, and when you didn't
Baby bird went on a cheeseburger.
Yeah, I think that's the problem.
I
His
think-
parents, when he gets hyper, like, oh, just give him a cheeseburger.
And
I
when
think
you
his
didn't-
mom or his aunt, I think she actually took out a bag of Skittles and dropped it in his mouth.
and when you didn't give him that cheeseburger, he started sucking on the back of his seat.
Oh, that's what I said. I said,
on the cushion part.
Oh, yeah.
The part where all the dirty necks and Jerry curl juice dripped down. That's what he was sucking out of there.
oh, I looked at that kid and I said, so hey, you out of candy there? And he looked at me like, I'm gonna eat something. He bit right down that cheese and ow! And Leon was like, come on, man. I think he was scared. And that movie, you were right. We saw a silhouette just like jumping around, hopping, making noises. And when the lights came on, his hand turned around and she had a black eye and a tooth missing. It's like, this kid just beat the shit out of his hand through this movie.
Man.
And his aunt looked at him and was like, did you have fun?
Yeah, that poor lady looked like Rocky at the end of the first movie. I was like, damn.
Kung Fu. Stop something that stops Kung Fu.
Here we go.
Remember, Dragon Warrior, when you follow the noble path, anything is possible.
I'm freaking in.